Let's get straight to the point. Number 8. The chaos lottery. Disorganized attachment. Let's play a fun game called Is My Partner Looking at Me with Love or Planning to Steal My Kidney? If that specific thought haunts you, welcome to the club. This usually stems from a childhood where the parental forecast was sunny with a chance of hurricanes. One minute you got a warm hug, the next you were dodging emotional shrapnel just because you forgot to defrost the chicken. Science calls this disorganized attachment. Here is the neurological glitch. As a kid, the person supposed to protect you was also the person you feared. Your brain's survival system, the amygdala, hit the gas and the brake simultaneously. Run to them for safety versus run away from the threat. It creates a biological short circuit. As an adult, you become the CEO of mixed signals. You crave deep connection like a starving vampire, but the second things get calm, your nervous system panics because peace feels suspicious. You unknowingly start a fight just to feel something familiar, leaving your partner confused and you exhausted. You aren't crazy, you were just wired for a war that actually ended 20 years ago.
Number 7. The walking report card. Performance-based attachment. If getting a 98% on a math test made you feel deep shame instead of pride, welcome to the walking report card syndrome. In your childhood, love wasn't a birthright. It was a salary paid strictly for performance. You were the family's show pony, tried it out to impress the neighbors with your piano skills or grades. If you weren't winning, you were effectively invisible. Psychologically, this instills conditional self-worth. Your brain literally rewires itself to associate emotional safety with achievement. You don't feel loved for who you are, but for what you produce. It creates a tragic existence where you treat your own soul like a curated LinkedIn profile. As an adult dater, frankly, you are exhausting. You treat first dates like intense performance reviews. You seek partners who look perfect on paper. Ivy League degrees, six-pack abs, credit scores of 800, because you view them as accessories to your own brand. You are terrified of real intimacy because intimacy reveals flaws, and to you, a flaw is a death sentence. You don't actually want a lover. You want a trophy that talks.
Number 6. The Fortress of Solitude. Dismissive avoidant. Ever convinced yourself that crying is just a critical hardware failure? If you treat feelings like radioactive waste, you likely grew up in the Fortress of Solitude. In this household, needs were strictly physical. You got dinner and a roof, sure, but if you were sad, you were told to suck it up. Your parents viewed emotions as inconvenient glitches in the matrix, teaching you that vulnerability equals weakness. Science calls this dismissive avoidant attachment. Research indicates that when a child's emotional distress is consistently ignored, they adapt by deactivating their attachment system. You essentially turned off the Wi-Fi on your heart to save battery because searching for a signal was just too painful. Now, as an adult, you are the CEO of I'm Fine. You view partners who want to cuddle or talk about feelings as clinging or dramatic. You pride yourself on needing absolutely no one. You are hyper-independent to a fault. Your love language is distance. If a partner gets too close, you don't fight, you just slowly back away into a hedge like that Homer Simpson meme. It is certainly safe inside your fortress, but it is also mighty lonely when the drawbridge is permanently welded shut.
Number 5. The panic button. Anxious attachment. Does seeing typing dots disappear without a message send you into cardiac arrest? Welcome to the panic button. You likely grew up with the slot machine parent. One day they were your best friend, the next, emotionally vacant. You never knew if you were getting a hug or the cold shoulder, so you learned to constantly check the temperature. This creates anxious, preoccupied attachment. Your brain got hooked on intermittent reinforcement, the most addictive pattern in psychology. Because love was unpredictable, your amygdala became hypersensitive to withdrawal. You learned that to get attention, you had to turn up the volume, cry louder, and cling tighter just to survive. Now you are a walking anxiety spiral. You don't date, you merge. You analyze text timestamps like forensic evidence. He took 14 minutes to reply. Is he cheating? You demand reassurance because your internal alarm is stuck on abandonment imminent. It is exhausting being a detective for a crime that hasn't happened.
Number 4. The tiny therapist. Parentified child. Did you learn how to mediate a marital dispute before you learned long division? If you spent your childhood soothing your mom's anxiety or balancing the checkbook while watching cartoons, you were a tiny therapist. This dynamic is scientifically known as instrumental parentification. The hierarchy flips. The parent becomes the helpless child, and you become the emotional designated driver. You learned a brutal lesson. You only matter when you are useful. As an adult, your dating history probably looks like the intake roster at a crisis center. You are allergic to stable partners because they feel boring and offer you no job to do. Instead, you hunt for fixer-uppers, partners with massive debt, addiction, or mommy issues. Why? Because if you are fixing them, you feel safe. If they need you to survive, they can't leave you. You don't know how to receive love, only how to earn it through labor. You are the emotional janitor of the dating world, forever cleaning up messes you didn't make.
Number 3. The human doormat. The Fawn response. If your autobiography could be titled Sorry for Existing, you were likely the emotional butler. You grew up in a war zone, where conflict was dangerous. To survive, you didn't fight or flee, you fawned. You became a shapeshifter, molding your personality to whatever reduced the tension in the room. You learned quickly that having needs was a liability, so you simply deleted them to keep the peace. Science calls this the Fawn response, the forgotten sibling of fight, flight, and freeze. It is a primal survival mechanism where you appease the threat to avoid harm. Your brain decided that the safest way to exist is to be completely agreeable. You developed hypervigilance, constantly scanning microexpressions to predict the mood. In relationships, you're a chameleon. They like jazz, you suddenly love jazz, even though it sounds like instruments falling downstairs. You never argue, you never choose the restaurant, and you apologize when they step on your foot. Deep down, a volcano of resentment is brewing because nobody knows the real you. Mostly because you suppress the real you to keep everyone else happy.
Number 2. The stand-up comedian. Emotional deflection. Have you ever told a knock-knock joke during a breakup just to stop the silence? If your reaction to your partner's tears is to offer a high five, welcome to the stand-up comedian. You likely grew up in the funhouse. Here, negative emotions were treated like a contagious disease. If you were sad, you were told to smile. If you were angry, you were mocked until you laughed. You learned that vulnerability is cringe, but being entertaining keeps you safe. Psychologically, this is called deflection. You utilize humor as a defense mechanism known as affective distancing. It is a shield that keeps people entertained, but strictly at arm's length. You aren't actually happy, you are just hiding behind a laugh track. In dating, you are the MVP of the situationship. You are fun until a partner asks, "What are we?" Then you panic and send a GIF instead of an answer. You treat deep connection like a bomb. You dance around it and refuse to touch it. You fear that if the laughter stops, the pain starts, and you don't have a punchline for that.
Number 1. The unicorn. Secure attachment. If your partner says, "We need to talk," and you assume they want to discuss dinner plans rather than serve you divorce papers, you are the mythical, secure attachment. You are the unicorn of the dating pool. You likely had parents who were consistent, not perfect, just reliable. Science calls this having a secure base, a psychological launch pad allowing you to explore the world safely. You communicate needs clearly. and don't view a missed call as a declaration of war. Honestly, you are kind of a freak to the rest of us. But here's the plot twist. You were not doomed. This is called neuroplasticity. Science confirms you can develop earned security. Your brain is plastic. It can be rewired. You don't need a time machine. You need a corrective experience. This usually means dating someone boring. Yes, healthy love feels boring. To a brain addicted to cortisol spikes, peace feels like no chemistry. You miss the adrenaline, but that spark you chase is often just your trauma recognizing a familiar nightmare. Real love isn't a roller coaster. It is a slow train that actually arrives. Stop chasing the exciting red flags and give the boring green flag a chance.
If this video explains your entire dating history, hit the like button. The YouTube algorithm has anxious attachment. Without your constant validation, it assumes we broke up and panics. Subscribe and turn on notifications to build a secure attachment with this channel. We are the consistent partner you've been looking for. Share this with someone who needs a wake-up call, but maybe not your partner unless you want to start a fight. Drop a comment below with your style. See you in the next one.